So this is a topic that I've talked about before. I think it's worth talking about again, since the Grizzlies are potentially falling out of the Western Conference playoff race, as they are 2-8 in their last 10 games. Marc Gasol's offense has been pretty rough lately, and Marc Gasol is going to be the topic of pretty much this entire video. Is it time to trade Marc Gasol? Now, I think before this season you could have rationalized it with saying, well, they want to still be a good team, right? They get the high draft pick in Jaren Jackson. He's been really good. Conley comes back after the injury. It could be enough to be a decent team, right? Hasn't really been the case outside of the first month or so of this season where they were awesome. Their offense has really fallen apart. The Justin Holiday trade has not worked at all. The guy has fallen off a cliff ever since he was traded to Memphis. And, look, I mean, I guess before we bring up the idea of things going south and talking about trading Gasol and all that, is there a chance that the season could be fixed for Memphis? I mean, they would have to get aggressive with a move pretty much right now. I don't think a team that is 19-24 should be really thinking about trading their first round pick. They've already got one going to the Celtics at some point. And, anything in the distant future for this team could end up being pretty bleak given Gasol's age, so I wouldn't go too nuts there. But is it possible that some second round pick that they may have that I'm not even going to check if they even have any available could be moved for somebody? Maybe. I mean, it'd be nice if the guy could be a shooter and come in and actually make things happen, unlike Justin Holiday. But even then, that's just some sort of desperate attempt that really may not make a difference. I mean, could they find a way to get Wayne Ellington on this roster? I guess. Is it going to make a huge difference? Probably not, if we're being honest. It is, of course, not helping them that Dillon Brooks is either out for the season or he's out for a really long time, and they kind of need his offense. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough for them to get it together. If they are going to scrape by and make the playoffs, we know it's going to be the Grizzlies' way, where they get the 7th seed, and their net rating would suggest that they actually should be a couple games under 500, but they get just enough of those close, like 100 to 97 games to where they squeak in and then probably lose in round 1. And of course, the front office is perhaps content with that because this team just has a really tough time with generating a profit, which is why they haven't traded Marc Gasol already. But now that Gasol has a player option coming up, perhaps now it is the time where they are really going to be forced to explore this idea. Now, there's a chance Marc could come back. I'm not inside the guy's head. I don't know what he values. I don't know if he wants to just stay in Memphis, just keep playing with Conley, or if he wants to go somewhere else and compete for a title, right? But I will say this. If there was ever a time for a guy to turn down $25 million that he will certainly not get on the open market, it would probably be this exact scenario, which is a guy who's been on a team now that has been mediocre for quite a while. There was, of course, the David Fizdale situation. There was the fact that Marc Gasol just wasn't really a model citizen last year. I mean, he was frustrated all the time. His defense slipped, and while I think he's proven this season that he still has the capabilities of being a very good to great defensive player, I think what we saw last year was he is susceptible to perhaps being like, screw it, well, you guys all suck, so I'm not going to play defense now. Which could be a sign that he is perhaps a little frustrated with everything that's going on. And if he is frustrated with everything that's going on, combined with the fact that he's 34 years old and he doesn't have too much time left in the NBA, perhaps this is the time where he would bounce and decline the player option and go somewhere else. Now, I don't know. I'm not inside Marc Gasol's head, but the writing may be on the wall here. So should the Grizzlies try to get out ahead of this and actually trade the guy? I mean, here's the thing. They may have missed their opportunity to trade him. I mean, if they would have moved him like 2 years ago, they probably could have got a lot for him. Now, I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know if anybody wants to pay 35-year-old Marc Gasol $25 million. Granted, they might play him less minutes, and they may not play him in back-to-backs and all that kind of stuff. Really preserve his body for the playoffs. But even that may not really do it. I mean, the guy is not a very athletic player. He's made it work through being really skilled and, as a shooter, passer, post player. His rebounding's even been a little better this season. He's made it work, but you fear that another year, and perhaps before you know it, Marc Gasol's kind of standing in quicksand on defense, you know? That's the fear with the guy. And paying that dude $25 million and then giving him another contract after that, because you know him and his agent are going to want at least like a 2-year deal or something. You might be paying 37-year-old Marc Gasol, I don't know, $12 million a year, because you have to assume he would take a lesser contract, but that's a risky thing to do if you're an opposing team. Now, maybe some other team doesn't want to have Marc Gasol for too long. They want to have him for like 1 season and maybe a year after that or whatever. But what I'm getting at is you're probably not going to get that much for the guy. I mean, if you're expecting a first-round pick and some guy who can help you win right now and a good young player, I don't think it's going to happen. Could that potentially happen for Mike Conley? Maybe, given the team you're trading to and, you know, different protections and stuff like that. I really don't think it's going to happen with Marc Gasol. Now, that does not mean you can't get anything. Now, of course, because of the money he's making, if any contender wanted to make a move for him, you might have to get a third team involved. The one team that has cap space is the Kings, so they're probably getting a lot of phone calls right now, and they could get one about this sort of thing, whether they would want to help the Grizzlies or not. I mean, they might not care, I don't know. But, you know, like, let's say if the Bucks wanted Marc Gasol, okay? The idea being, well, Brook Lopez is shooting 1,000,000 threes. Marc Gasol likes to shoot threes, and he can also do other things that Brook can't do. Like, could I picture them at least considering it? Yeah. But again, it's like, I don't think you're going to get Middleton. I don't think you're going to get Brogdon. So at that point, what do you really want on the Bucks? I've heard the Celtics brought up. I mean, I don't really know why the Celtics would do that unless, again, the third team was involved and that team helped out the salary a lot, because, I mean, all the big contracts these guys have who could actually make this move possible, between Horford or Marcus Smart or Kyrie or Hayward, I don't picture them trading any of those guys for Marc Gasol, you know? I mean, maybe some team that's just desperate to be respectable right now, like the Hornets, could get in on Marc Gasol, but even then, you know, then that team is like, well, we're not that good, so we don't know if he would actually want to stay with us past this season or whatever. So, yeah, I just don't think the market is great for the guy. So they may just keep him to keep him. I mean, you know, if you're going to trade Marc Gasol just for the sake of trading him, but what you get back, it just isn't that good, then, I don't know, maybe just keep him at that point and just hope that he'll re-sign. But of course, there's a lot of teams, there's a lot of general managers, and it just takes one, man. It just takes one team to buy themselves into some scenario, and before we know it, Woj announces some trade on Twitter, and we're all like, what the hell just happened? So, we'll just have to see. My guess is a Marc Gasol trade wouldn't warrant that much, but perhaps depending on the team, you could get something.